Dear students, please open your textbook before you start listening. Underline important lines and mark difficult words. Use earphone or headphone for full concentration. Happy listening and happy learning. Page number 108. To avoid this, the blood has platelet cells which circulate around the body and plug these leaks by helping to clot the blood at these point of injuries. Lymph. There is another type of fluid also involved in transportations. This is called lymph or tissue fluid. Through the pores present in the walls of capillaries, some amount of plasma, protein, and blood cell escape into intercellular spaces in the tissue to form the tissue fluid or lymph. It is similar to the plasma of blood but colorless and contain less protein. Lymph drain into lymphatic capillaries from the intercellular spaces, which join to form large lymph vessels that finally open into larger veins. Lymph carries digested and absorbed fat from intestine and drains excess fluid from extracellular space back into the blood. 6.4.2 Transportation in plant. We have discussed earlier how plants take in simple compound such as CO2 and photosynthesize energy stored in their chlorophyll containing organ, namely leaves. The other kind of raw material needed for building plant bodies may also have to be taken up separately. For plants, the soil is the nearest and richest source of raw material like nitrogen, phosphorus, and other minerals. The absorption of these substances therefore occurs through the part in contact with the soil, namely roots. If the distances between soil contacting organs and chlorophyll containing organs are small, energy and raw material can easily diffuse to all parts of the plant body. But if these distances become large because of changes in the plant body design, diffusion processes will not be sufficient to provide raw material in leaves and energy in roots. A proper system of transportation is therefore essential in such situations. Energy needs differ between different body design. Plants do not move, and plant bodies have a large proportion of dead cell in many tissues. As a result, plants have low energy needs and can use relatively slow transport system. The distances over which transport systems have to be operate, however, can be very large in plants such as very tall trees. Plant transport system will move energy stores from leaves and raw material from roots. These two pathways are constructed as independently organized conducting tube. One, the xylem, moves water and mineral obtained from the soil. The other, phloem, transport product of photosynthesis from the leaves where they are synthesized. In other parts of the plant, we have studied the structure of these tissues in detail in class 9. Transport of water. In xylem tissues, vessels and tracheids of the roots, stems, and leaves are interconnected to form a continuous system of water conducting channels reaching all parts of the plant. At the roots, cells in contact with the soil actively take up ions. This creates a difference in the concentration of these ions between the root and the soil. Water, therefore, moves into the root from the soil to eliminate this difference. Page number 109. This means that there is a steady movement of water into root xylem, creating a column of water that is steadily pushed upward. However, this pressure by itself is unlikely to be enough to move water over the height that we commonly see in plants. Plants use another strategy to move water in the xylem upward to the highest point of the plant body. Activity 6.8. Take two small pots of approximately the same size and having the same amount of soil. One should have a plant in it. Place a stick of the same height as the plant in the other pot. Cover the soil in both pots with a plastic sheet so that moisture cannot escape by evaporation. Cover both seeds, one with the plant and the other with the stick, with plastic sheets and place it in bright sunlight for half an hour. Do you observe any difference in the two cases? Provided that the plant has an adequate supply of water, the water which is lost through the stomata is replaced by water from the xylem vessels in the leaf. In fact, evaporation of water molecule from the cells of a leaf creates a suction which pulls water from the xylem cells of roots. The loss of water in the form of vapor from the aerial parts of the plant is known as transpirations. Thus, transpiration helps in the absorption and upward movement of water and mineral dissolved in it from roots to the leaves. It also helps in temperature regulation. The effect of root pressure in the transport of water is more important at night. During the day, when the stomata are open, the transpiration pull becomes the major driving force in the movement of water in the xylem. Now, transport of food and other substances. So far, we have discussed the transport of water and mineral in plants. Now, let us consider how the product of metabolic processes, particularly photosynthesis, are moved from leaves, where they are formed, to other parts of the plant. This transport of soluble product of photosynthesis is called translocation, and it occurs in the part of the vascular tissues known as phloem. Besides the products of photosynthesis, the phloem transport amino acids and other substances. These substances are especially delivered to the storage organ of roots, fruits and seeds and to growing organs. The translocation of food and other substances takes place in the sieve tube with the help of adjacent companion cell both in upward and downward directions. Unlike transport in xylem, which can be largely explained by simple physical forces, the translocation is phloem is achieved by utilizing energy. Page number 110. Materials like sucrose is transferred into phloem tissue using energy from ATP. This increases the osmotic pressure of the tissue, causing water to move into it. This pressure moves the material in the phloem to tissues which have less pressure. This allows the phloem to move material according to the plant's need. For example, in the spring, sugar controlled in root or stem tissue would be transported to the buds which need energy to grow. Questions. Number 1. What are the components of the transport system in human being? What are the functions of these components? Number 2. Why is it necessary to separate oxygenated and deoxygenated blood in mammals and birds? 3. What are the components of the transport system in highly organized plant? 4. How are water and mineral transported in plants? 5. How is food transported in plants? 6.5 Excretion. We have already discussed how organisms get rid of gaseous waste generated during photosynthesis or respiration. Other metabolic activities generate nitrogenous material which need to be removed. The biological process involved in the removal of these harmful metabolic waste from the body is called excretion. Different organisms use varied strategies to do this. Many unicellular organisms remove these waste by simple diffusion from the body surface into the surrounding water, as we have seen in other processes. Complex multicellular organisms use specialized organs to perform the same function. 6.5.1 Excretion in human being. The excretory system of human being, figure 6.13, includes a pair of kidneys, a pair of ureters, a urinary bladder, and a urethra. Kidneys are located in the abdomen, one on either side of the backbone. Urine produced in the kidneys passes through the ureters into the urinary bladder, where it is stored until it is released through the urethra. How is urine produced? The purpose of making urine is to filter out waste products from the blood. Just as CO2 is removed from the blood in the lungs, nitrogenous waste such as urea or uric acid are removed from blood in the kidneys. It is then no surprise that the basic filtration unit in the kidneys, like in the lung, is a cluster of very thin walled blood capillaries. Page number 111. Each capillary cluster in the kidney is associated with the cup-shaped end of a coiled tube called Bowman's capsule that collects the filtrate as shown in figure 6.14. Each kidney has large number of these filtration units called nephrons packed close together. Some substances in the initial filtrate such as glucose, amino acids, salts and a major amount of water are selectively reabsorbed as the urine flows along the tubes. The amount of water reabsorbed depends on how much excess water there is in the body and on how much of dissolved waste there is to be excreted. The urine forming in each kidney eventually enters a long tube, the ureter, which connects the kidney with the urinary bladder. Urine is stored in the urinary bladder until the pressure of the expanded bladder leads to the urge to pass it out through the urethra. The bladder is muscular, so it is under nervous control, as we have discussed elsewhere. As a result, we can usually control the urge to urinate. Now the column more to know. Artificial kidney. Hemodialysis. Kidneys are vital organs for survival. Several factors like infections, injury, or restricted blood flow to kidney reduce the activity of kidney. This leads to accumulation of poisonous waste in the body, which can even lead to death. In case of kidney failure, an artificial kidney can be used. An artificial kidney is a device to remove nitrogenous waste product from the blood through dialysis. Artificial kidneys contain a number of tubes with a semi-permeable lining suspended in a tank filled with dialyzing fluid. This fluid has the same osmotic pressure as blood, except that it is devoid of nitrogenous waste. The patient blood is passed through these tubes. During this passage, the waste products from the blood pass into dialyzing fluid by diffusion. The purified blood is pumped back into the patient. This is similar to the function of the kidney, but it is different since there is no reabsorption involved. Normally, in a healthy adult, the initial filtrate in the kidney is about 180 liters daily. However, the volume actually excreted is only a liter or two a day because the remaining filtrate is reabsorbed in the kidney tubules. Page number 112. Think it over. Organ donation. Organ donation is a generous act of donating an organ to a person who suffers from non-function of organ. Donation of an organ may be done by the consent of the donor and his or her family. Anyone can, regardless of age or gender, can become an organ and tissue donor. Organ transplant can save or transform the life of a person. Transplantation is required because recipient's organ has been damaged or has failed by disease or injury. In organ transplantation, the organ is surgically removed from one person, in bracket organ donor, and transplanted to another person, in bracket the recipient. Common transplantation include corneas, kidneys, heart, liver, pancreas, lungs, intestine, and bone marrow. Most organ and tissue donations occur just after the donor has died or when the doctor declares a person brain dead. But some organs such as kidney, part of a liver, lung, etc. and tissues can be donated while the donor is alive. 6.5.2 Excretion in plants. Plants use completely different strategies for excretion than those of animals. Oxygen itself can be thought of as a waste product generated during photosynthesis. We have discussed earlier how plants deal with oxygen as well as CO2. They can get rid of excess water by transpiration. For other waste, plants use the fact that many of their tissues consist of dead cells and that they can even lose some parts such as leaves. Many plant waste products are stored in cellular vacuoles. Waste products may be stored in leaves that fall off. Other waste products are stored as resins and gums, especially in old xylem. Plants also excrete some waste substances into the soil around them. Questions. Number 1. Describe the structure and functioning of nephrons. Number 2. What are the methods used by plants to get rid of excretory product? Number 3. How is the amount of urine produced regulated? What you have learned? 1. Movement of various time can be taken as an indication of life. 2. Maintenance of life requires processes like nutrition, respiration, transport of material within the body and excretion of waste product. 3. Autotrophic nutrition involves the intake of simple inorganic material from the environment and using an external energy source like the sun to synthesize complex high-energy organic material. 4th, heterotrophic nutrition involves the intake of complex material prepared by other organisms. 6th, in human being, the food eaten is broken down by various steps along the alimentary canal and the digested food is absorbed in the small intestine to be sent to all cells in the body. Thank you, students. Please listen twice for better understanding. Hope you liked the video and subscribe for upcoming videos.